I'm your host, Raj Anderson, Executive Life Coach and Coach Assessor. And I am here with John Andrew Williams, who's the founder of Coach Training EDU. We are going to be picking up demos again today. How are you doing, John?
All right, fighting off sickness, but I'll be okay. Still
Fine.
wanted to be here, still wanted to do this. Um, so I think I have a little lower energy, but do what we can.
Well, thank you for being here, even though you're not feeling that well.
It's interesting. I was thinking about it. I was going back and forth all morning. Like, should I do it, not do it, do it, not do it? And then I I, I am getting so much out of this. Uh, I did a couple demos just last week. And I know that these are making my coaching better. And uh yeah, and so I think I don't know. I'm rarely sick. When I am, I just feel like I get hyper annoyed that I can't just power through it. So this might be me just powering through it. And well, on the other, I really enjoy our time together and getting these things done. So my sense is this will be as energy giving as it's as it's energy spending.
Absolutely. And we're blessed. We're blessed to have you, even though you're not feeling that well. And we're blessed that we can, at least we work from home, I guess, hopefully I think you can get under a blanket at some point and take care of yourself, and we can create a nice environment for you right now as well, can't we, as we lean into this?
It's one of the big benefits of working from Zoom is when you show up in a Zoom meeting or something, you're like, yeah, I'm not feeling great. You don't get the dagger eyes. Like if you showed up in person, like, hey, everybody.
Yeah,
Hey,
you're
or
not
hey,
contagious
all around
right
the
now.
conference table.
All right. Well, John, as we start to listen in a moment, are there any bits that you want to share in terms of what you've been reflecting since we even listened last week?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a couple of the misses on this session, I think is interesting to me. Um, but I mean, it's neither here nor there. I still think it's a strong session. It's not my strongest, but I still think it's okay. I had a mentor, one of my coaches, it's a while ago, it's over a decade ago, and I remember feeling, um, I don't know, like I didn't do my very best session, or wasn't feeling like I was, I had a day where I just felt off. And she said something to me that still remember. It was along the lines of, when they're hiring you to be a coach, they're not hiring you to be your absolute best all the time. Like that's just not possible. They're hiring you to be you as a human. And sometimes you'll have good days, sometimes bad days, but it's not like you can't expect superhuman when you're doing this stuff. And I mean, I think it makes sense. Um, I think it really does. So it can't you can't expect perfection every time. And I think that actually gets in the way. So that's been one of my biggest reflections on this.
Thanks for sharing, John. You can't expect perfection every time, and we are human beings. And as I'm listening to you, I'm also thinking perhaps sometimes, we might distort what value add is, right? What we might think is value add in a coaching session, it could be completely different for the client in terms of their takeaways, because they don't know the question that you could have asked,
Right.
or so it doesn't mean that progress or change or shifts aren't going to happen.
Right. Right. It was helpful just to like take that pressure off. And then in doing so, I think it just became, it's not like, it's not, coaching is not commoditized. It's not necessarily something that, it's a relationship. It's a journey. It's something that you have opportunities to build on as well. Yeah, let's jump in. Let's jump
Okay.
in. I forget which minute mark I was at, but let's pick it up from wherever it seems like it makes sense. probably the halfway point. I'm gonna jump a little bit here. There we go. Oh wait, I didn't do the, hold on, let me do it again. I have to share the sound too. Here we go. Okay.
More towards the end, but it happened and I was terrified. But I did it and I think I'm getting good.
Mhm.
John, you're not sharing the video.
So
We
that's
can
feeling better. And I
see
also
your
think I've accepted the
invincible
fact.
shield.
My sorry.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
You're seeing my other screen. Here we go. There we are.
Is there ever like a time where you're like, I'm a perfect coach, I'm amazing, there's nothing I could do wrong? Like I I think
That's
that's
so
just
funny,
maybe
isn't it?
I'm hoping for something that's not realistic. So I'm kind of accepting the fact that, you know, I might not always feel super duper amazingly confident and that's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, of course. What how is that pressure helping you? Or what happens if, or what it, even more specific, what happens when you make friends with the pressure? Oh, what a
Mm.
fun question.
It kind of becomes like my fuel instead of pressure. Because, like, without it, maybe I'd stop trying, you know. But the fact that it's there, I'm like, oh crap, I really gotta, you know, be on my A game. Oh, I should prepare. Like, I should this, I should that. And it constantly keeps me trying. And right now, in the beginning, I'm gonna be trying, but I think it's gonna be important in the future too. You know, even when God willing, I'm going to be this fantastic, life changing life coach. I think even then, it'll
Yeah,
still be there.
right, right. I have this question. I can't shake it, so I'm just gonna roll it out. Why are you still holding on to the ick of sales? There we go. Finally,
Mm,
finally, we get there. Gosh.
I don't want to hold on to it.
There
Yeah,
it is.
finally get there. What do you think?
I think that was courageous. You came in with that kind of direct, more of that prickly kind of question. I'm curious as to why you brought it in at that moment. What do you think was happening for you?
Well, I mean, that preamble is fascinating to me. Normally, I don't like it when I'm listening to other people coach or myself coach. I don't think we need to give the reasons for our questions every time.
Mhm.
Actually, I don't like it. I think for me, it's fascinating, like listening to it now. My inner guideline on it is if they have a question and I can't shake it after two or three questions, I'll ask it. Even if I feel like it's not the most optimal question. Here, I feel like that was the most optimal question. That's a question I could have asked minute mark 5, but now we're minute mark 15, and I'm finally getting to the meat and potatoes of this session. So I think that there's an element of, I don't know why I needed the preamble. I don't know. I mean, I could go super harsh on myself, but whatever. How long did that take? 10 seconds, not even 10 seconds, 5 seconds, maybe. Uh, so, so yeah, I mean, it's not, uh, yeah, it's neither here nor there. But I asked it, I got there finally. Um, I just could have got there 10 minutes ago.
Mm. You did ask a really great question there as well, a fun question around making friends with the pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, That's something that I've been playing with almost in all my coaching sessions, a lot of my classes too. I think this is pretty common for people when they're starting a life coaching business, that there's an element of fighting against the, or like not wanting the financial pressure of having to make it, or feeling that pressure. I mean, I still feel it. And I mean, it's something that I've had to learn how to do, is to embrace the pressure, uh, welcome it almost, to push, to push to do things that might not be exactly comfortable but are necessary to do. This goes back to Marcus Aurelius's idea of the obstacle becomes the way, where the metaphor that he uses around it is a fire. And if the fire is burning strong enough, whatever obstacle, whatever material is in the way, that material becomes fuel for the fire. But if the fire is not burning strong enough and something gets in the way, it could snuff out the fire. It's just a super strong metaphor for almost anything. And she even mentions it in here. Like she said something about like it's fuel, right?
The coaches listening, that's a great way to use metaphors in your coaching questions. It also reminds me of my training that I did in 2.0, where we kind of looked at opposite type of questions as well. So once again, coaches, if you're listening, your ACC, be interested in 2.0, go and check out the 2.0 program, because it also teaches you and trains you to take some of these metaphors and playing around and taking it to the next level, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there's an element of, there's magic that happens when we as coaches learn to stay in curiosity, and yeah, there's judgment. Judgment's going to happen. It's wired into our brains, like literally wired in. But this idea of being able to shift to curiosity again and again, even about negative things, is so powerful. I mean, you could even ask questions like, what's the benefit of the ick of sales? Like explore that for a minute, you know? Yeah. Yeah, this is powerful stuff. And I feel like now, it took me a little bit, but now I feel like I'm on solid territory again, coach wise.
Let's see where we go with this ick then.
Let's keep it going.
I like
Yeah, yeah.
it's just
But
there.
why? Why is this still like, why? Mm-hmm.
I
No,
don't
I'm onto something
know.
here.
I don't know. Like I'm like even I think back to like 10 years ago when I was like in my 20s, and maybe a little longer than 10 years ago, but whatever. But like I was partying, I was going out, every picture on my Instagram feed was like a selfie, and like, I was like, I'm the coolest. And now I'm older, I'm like, I'm a mother, like, and I tried to record a video for Happy Hours Instagram, and I felt so, I don't know what the word is, like, oh my God, I couldn't even watch it. Like my husband would play, and I was like, oh God, please turn it off. So
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
What happens when you make the sales not about you?
What's it about?
The other person.
I don't know. I haven't thought about it. That's
Let's go
it.
there. Go there. What happens? Here we go.
Feels better. Feels better. Um, well, yeah, that changes things. So
Keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I could see it one-on-one if I'm talking to somebody. Oh, okay.
You feel her.
I have to sit in this for a while.
Yeah.
I need to, yeah. But I could see it helping.
What's shifting?
The attention is not on me. It's on the other person, which makes it a little less salesy and more like helping. Like, this is for you type of thing.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. This is a hat I could try on.
What happens when you invite them to the boat and they're on the boat with you in the ocean?
Hmm. Oh, they love it. They want to jump
Yeah.
in the water.
Yeah. What do they experience?
Carefreeness, happiness, uh, just lightness. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. How are you doing?
How am I doing?
Yeah.
Good. Good. I wish it was the type of thing where I could just like immediately
Yeah, immediately what?
just snap into that, like this isn't about me, this is about you. Um,
Yeah.
but it's definitely something I could sit with.
So what's the, yeah, there's a motion there with almost like a snap. Let's do it. Let's snap in. I'm there. Yeah, try
Hmm.
it, try it, try it.
Yeah, you know, man,
Yeah. You're
hard,
doing it.
hard.
Yeah, what's there? What's there on the other side? When you go over there, fully over there. Question is, why are you holding back that peace and joy and lightness from potential clients?
Yeah, yeah. I feel like it's just my
I want to stop you around. What do you think?
And this is a good point to stop because there's some shifts happening in her energy. There's a couple of things I'm curious about.
Yeah.
So just going back a little bit when you were asking her some questions and I could see you were championing her, challenging her to go further. But I'm curious how a newer coach might say, was that leading? What's the difference there?
That is a good question. I don't feel like it's leading, but I could see where it could seem that way. But why? Why would I feel like that's not leading? Because it is somewhat, right? I think what it is the first question I asked when she goes over there to the other side and to make it not about her. It feels like that was an insight. There was something there. There was something that she brought back that was valuable for her. And I think the difference would be, let's say I asked that question and she didn't bring anything back, but then I wanted her to go there anyway. I think that would be leading.
Yeah.
This one feels more like, oh, I got it. She's got it. This is new. We've got where we needed to go. This does fit a lot of the sales models too, the idea that it's not about us. You know, when you're doing sales, it's not about, yeah, I mean, you have to make money. You have to make a living. It has to be financially sustainable. But in the sales process, it's not about the person making the sale. It's about the person buying it. Does this make sense in their life or not? And then if you're simply connecting with the other person as a human and getting curious about them, and it's not like you have to convince them or trick them or like somehow say all the right things. Sometimes in sales process it feels that way, but it's mostly about the other person. So this is something that I know. This is something that I know from having basically been a full-time entrepreneurship since 2008. And yeah, I mean, do I know a lot about this domain? Sure. I'm asking questions based on my knowledge. Sure. Is it also moving the ball forward for her? Yeah. I would like to be more directive here, or I think this is an opportunity for me to tell her, like, let's capture this thought like what I'm wanting is like a physical thing where she can really go, okay, let's snap into it. Like, let's actually snap into this idea of empathetic sales, empathetic conversation. There's a resistance here to it. And I'm fascinated by this resistance. Part of me doesn't even want this resistance to go away really, immediately, but there's something here, something really valuable for her to explore. Yeah, I would be so curious to send this to the ICF and see what they think. If they think this is MCC level or not, I don't know. I'd be really curious.
Well, I do want to point out as well, coaches who are listening to this, you are very subtly bringing in different tools. You might not be, you're not saying explicitly I'm bringing in this tool, but you're bringing in metaphors.
Right.
You are, by moving into talking about the snap here, creating reminder and associations. These are all tools we learn in training. Even around it not being about her, arguably here could be around the motivation tool and how we are intrinsic or extrinsically motivated. So you're very subtly and without being explicit about it, bringing in a number of different tools here that we learn in coach training. So just wanted to point that out to coaches that sometimes might feel under pressure of how do I introduce a tool, or do I need to overly explain? All right, I'm going into metaphors now. You're demonstrating how you just can weave it in through the coaching questioning process.
Yeah, I think we just have a couple minutes left of it. We just have a couple minutes left of the recording. Let's go do that. I'm gonna get some more tea. But yeah, I mean, it's right on, Raj. I feel like I feel like now this is like coaching flex time. It's like each topic feels like here's another flex, here's another flex. It's just like almost like a tour de force of questions. Let's see how she takes it.
It's my old way of thinking that I'm just applying to others, where like this is just a person trying to make money.
There you go.
But it's not. I'm not. Like yeah, I think I just need to keep reminding myself that this isn't just about, money. This is about, I found this awesome thing that I also thought didn't work, and maybe you don't know enough about it, maybe you don't think it works, but try it. Like I want to show it to you.
Mm-hmm. Feel that energy. Oh my goodness, such a different energy.
Yeah.
What's possible from this perspective? There we go.
A lot more.
Yeah.
A lot more. And
What's
yeah.
that step? Yeah, what's that step that from here that you're wanting to take in the next couple weeks?
I guess just talk to more people about it and maybe ask people in my circle to kind of spread the word, um, and then be really on top of getting to those people. So like from a small circle, it becomes a bigger circle, and then so on and so forth.
Right.
Yeah, like I even feel weird like asking like my close friends to like promote me, which, and the funny thing is a lot of them said like, hey, like let me know how I, and I'm like,
Right.
I'll let you know. You know?
So you're gonna let them know today?
I'll let them know
Oh my gosh.
by Sunday. That's like a doable.
Okay.
Today's a little questionable, and I don't want to put myself on that line. And tomorrow
Okay.
is
All right.
family day.
Fair enough.
Saturday.
How many people?
Um,
All right, we gotta stop for the sake of our time on the Coach to Flourish. There's just a minute or two left. You get the idea. I go for it in action planning.
Yeah. Lots of great examples there again, John. I just want to keep pointing these out as I'm listening to them as well, because you helped to shift a limiting belief. She said that was my old way of thinking. So, there's like limiting beliefs in there, there's perspectives in there, that beautiful question around what's possible with this new perspective, all of that around that perspective shift. And then you are bringing in that kind of championing, okay, what about doing it today? What about it happening now? I almost wish I was like, oh, I wish there was more time, because she tried to talk herself out of it a bit again. And I would have been curious to see around a bit more stickiness of the association or the new perspective. But I was really enjoying listening to you get her to kind of challenge herself. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is, I mean, this at this point, it feels pretty much like textbook to me. Like it feels like I'm hitting all the thing, like, we have a perspective, we've explored it. We're looking at how is this perspective different from where she was before? Bring in a little metaphor of the boat. Uh, I bring it back to the boat at the very, very end, I think, if I'm remembering properly. And uh, like she has, whenever a client has a metaphor like that, it can become a really strong, it's just the way our memories work. It becomes a really strong reminder of, oh yeah, like when I'm in the next sales call, like why am I keeping the boat in the beautiful water to myself? I mean, these kind of sessions, like I mean, she just says it, right? She just said, like, she just basically said it, like, this is amazing. I found this amazing thing. I want everyone to experience this. Why am I some oddly hesitating, when it comes to sales and money? Yeah. It's kind of it. Kind of it. So I think as rough as this session started, I feel like it ended pretty strong uh, from a coaching standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. And just seeing that shift in her energy.
Yeah, and I am so slow in my questions. I mean, it's very slow. Like I was counting, I was like, those are 8-second delays. And part of me wonders, like, is that okay or not? Have I found the limits of pause or not pause? Or am I just that comfortable that I'm not even rushing my own thought? I'm like, I'm not even rushing it in any way at all. Like there is no hurry in that pause. I mean, is it just that I've done it so long that I don't know. Who knows? That's my biggest takeaway. Like, is that okay?
And it didn't feel uncomfortable listening to. I mean, I've always said this before. I'm like, if you want to learn to pause, you've got to listen to John. Like, you are the master of pause. That's where I learned it from myself. I used to feel uncomfortable with really long pauses. Yet when I see it demonstrated in that way, it doesn't feel uncomfortable. And you can just see when you are comfortable, you're creating that comfortable space for the client with that pause as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It feels like it doesn't, I mean, listening to it, it's funny me listening to it because I think when I'm listening to it, I think to myself, I really hope I really hope he has it. Like as if I'm listening to myself as someone else, I think, does he have it still? Or is he just gonna be like, you know what, I'm sorry. Like I'm off thinking about something else. Like I'm just like gonna go like away now. Like, I don't know. It just might be me and my like, somewhat not 100% sick mind today, looking back on it, be like, oh my gosh, is this real? Like it feels a little it feels surreal to me. And on some level, it's like, okay, he really is holding space. Like he's holding this room together. And by holding this room together, it feels a little bit like, um, is is the client staying engaged, or is the pace so slow that they're also losing the thread? But I don't think it's clearly they're not losing the thread.
No.
All right, Raj, we have to get going.
Well, thank you, John. Thank you for being here, even though you're not very well. And we reflected on past John and current John, and which is informing future John. What
It
words
does
of
feel a little
wisdom do
weird
you
in the
have?
head, I have to say. I mean,
Any last words of wisdom you have for us, John,
I'm
before we let you go?
just so appreciative of you, Raj, and the whole thing. Holding space, making this, letting me process this. And um, I think I think these questions, I think what this podcast is evolving into, and I can see it evolving even more, is almost an exploration of what does it even mean to coach? Like what does this process look like? And I'll be curious. So I know we get other people in here, other watching other coaching demos. I'll be curious to see how it evolves, the understanding of what we're up to. But I think that the primary question that we're aiming to ask in this is a strong one. So I feel like the fundamentals are correct. Yeah, thank you, Raj. Really appreciate you. Appreciate everyone
Thank you.
watching, listening.
Thank you, John. And thank you, listeners, and keep sharing your feedback with us. Ask us your questions, share your recordings, and take care, John. And we'll see everyone else next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
All right. See you.